Richard Archie with us with the Tennessee Firearms Association. Richard, hope you're doing good today.
I'm doing well.
So I want to get your reaction here. You've got Bill Lee now colluding with the Democrats, and I'm not sure why he's doing this, Richard, because even if he had every Democrat on board, he still doesn't have enough votes to stop all of this. So why is he doing this?
Well, if you have every Democrat and then you can take the rest of the squishy Republicans, convince them that they need to join in concert with the Democrats, then you might have enough people there, enough votes to pass whatever it is he's looking to put forward.
Richard, I'm hoping that the Tennessee Firearms Association can help us out here and understand exactly what the governor is wanting to do, because here on this end of the state, we have a lot of squishy Republicans. We've got a lot of Democrats, and I'm telling you, they are really ratcheting up the rhetoric. A lot of billboards out here saying we've got to crack down on gun ownership. So what will this legislation do?
What the governor proposed at the end of the session, which I am supposing that he will repropose in the special session, basically is a unconstitutional gun grab, where what they do is they allow anybody to call the police and say, I heard this person say something, or I think he's a threat to himself or to the general public. At that time, they have an ex parte meeting with a judge. They issue a warrant. They're able to come into your home and take your firearms, but they leave you loose on the general public with your diesel fuel and your gasoline, your chainsaw, and your chopping axe. So what they're doing is they're simply taking one type of tool, but they're not addressing the mental health issue. They're not doing anything to remove that person who might be a threat to the general public from the general public. So to me, it's just the wrong way to go about it. If in fact they're truly concerned with keeping people who are a danger from committing crimes or murder, then what they need to do is they need to take that person into custody and get them treatment or remove them from the general public.
And Richard, most recently we had what was nearly a mass shooting that was fortunately averted at a Hebrew school here in Memphis the other day. And the reason why is the school actually had a rock solid security protocol in place. And thanks to those security protocol measures, the bad guy was not allowed to get inside the building. And they were able to photograph this guy and get a description of his truck and get all of that information out there to the Memphis Police Department so that they could capture this person. But the interesting component of this story is apparently this guy was known and he had mental problems. And people are saying, oh, we got to get the guns. Well, they're not talking about the fact that the guy had mental issues. So why did he have a gun in the first place? Because there are already, Richard, laws on the books saying that mentally ill people cannot possess a firearm.
That is correct. We have one of the best involuntary committal set of rules in the nation, where if a person reports you to the police department and says that we really think he's got a problem, they will investigate that. They can come out then in involuntary. In other words, what they can do is they can take you into custody and put you in a medical facility for someone to look at your situation, to peruse the problem. And then if they think that there's a reason that you need to be held longer for more scrutiny, they can hold you up to 2 weeks. And then you go to a court of law and you get to bring in an attorney. You get to provide defense to the situation. You get to tell your side of the story. And at that point, if they find that you are in fact a danger, they can hold you involuntarily for up to 6 months. Now, to me, that is the situation that needs to be addressed here. Why are we not taking advantage of the laws that are currently on the books now? If we have that set of statutes in place to deal with these people who are known, as you were saying about this guy at the Margolian Hebrew Academy, why aren't we taking advantage of those situations instead of trying to do an unconstitutional gun grab instead?
It's a great question you raise. And folks, maybe you have a question as well. I know a lot of misinformation is out there, especially across Memphis, as our squishy Republicans are advancing whatever the governor's agenda is going to be. Give us a call, and you can ask that question, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. We're speaking with Richard Archie, who is with the Tennessee Firearms Association. Richard, I'm curious, what are you hearing from other Republicans around the state? Are we going to have enough votes to put a stop to this?
I think so. I have done a series of interviews with legislators, just finished this last week with the Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton. And we've done just a basic, I don't editorialize at all. I simply send them the questions. I let them have an opportunity to be ready to answer them. I ask them on air. We do it via a Zoom call, and then I publish that for our membership and the rest of the state. If they want to see it, they can go to www.tennesseefirearms.com and they can see all of these interviews. But I've probably done 20, and to a person, the Republicans that have consented to do the interview have told me they're absolutely not in favor of anything that would take away your Second Amendment rights, but do think that possibly what we could do is look at modifying what we've got in place for involuntary committals for individuals who have mental problems, and possibly take some of the money that we have in the overage for our state treasury and add more beds to mental institutions. We're not trying to give people help. We're trying to take away guns right now at the state government. And that's a problem. And I think what we need to start doing is looking at actually giving help to those individuals that need it.
All right, Richard, we have Robert calling in from Middle Tennessee. And Robert, I understand you have a question. What's your question?
Yeah, Richard, you know who this is. Got a question. What about arming teachers? Didn't Bill Lee give a promise about arming teachers? And your comments on that?
Bill Lee sent a letter to the TFA in 2018 when he was seeking to be the candidate at that point for governor. And in that letter, he promised that it would be necessary to arm teachers to aid in school security. He also said that he wanted to see true constitutional carry passed. He also wanted to make sure that people who had enhanced carry permits were able to carry on college campuses. All of those things he put in that letter to the membership of TFA, but none of those have taken place in his first 4 years or since the next one, either one since the second election.
Robert, I'm curious, there in Middle Tennessee, what are the folks in your neighborhood saying about this potential gun grab?
We're not happy. We're not happy at all.
I think the big concern over here in this part, and Robert, appreciate that call. Richard, the big concern here on this end of the state is the crime and violence. And if you're going to get gas, you better have a firearm with you because of all the carjackings. We have more carjackings than the entire city of New York. So this is insane what's happening here. And to actually disarm the good citizens of Memphis, Tennessee, the law-abiding citizens, I think that's going to spell disaster.
Our Supreme Court has said on a number of occasions, that every individual who is not a criminal has an unfettered right to carry a firearm in case of confrontation with another, either offensively or defensively, in public. I don't understand what the Republicans, especially in Memphis, because you're going to have an interview with a gentleman in a few minutes that brought an amendment to a bill that would have taken away the criminal aspect of carrying a firearm, allowed the carry of long arms like 42 other states do right now, and would have allowed the 18-year-olds to be able to carry a firearm for their own protection and to perfect a handgun carry permit, because the federal courts have already told us we have to do that in Tennessee. That's not a situation where it's up for question anymore. It's got to take place. But that bill was put forward by John Stevens. It was amended in committee by Brett Taylor of Memphis to take those things completely out and to actually make the situation in Tennessee with respect to your constitutional rights worse than it was before that bill was brought forth. I just don't get what the problem is with these people who take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and the states of Tennessee before they ever proceed to business. And if they don't understand what the Constitution calls for, why are they the ones that are allowed to vote what you and I can do and then enforce it with the police state?
Richard, these are great questions. And we are going to have Senator Taylor on coming up in the next hour, and we are going to ask him about that. Again, we have got to stand up and defend our Second Amendment rights here in the volunteer state. And it is shocking that we're having to fight Republicans to maintain our right to bear arms here. So, Richard, where can people go if they want to get more information about the incredible work you guys are doing there at the Tennessee Firearms Association?
Our website is www.tennesseefirearms.com. We have a full gamut of information there. You can hit the subscribe button on that page and you will receive free of charge. You don't have to be a member, but every week we send out information on the current state of affairs with the Second Amendment in Tennessee. Also, you can go to the news tab there and you can see these interviews that we've been doing, and you can read the articles that we're putting out right now, pretty steady and regular about what's coming up. We have our annual event coming up this year. We actually have Donald Trump Jr. as our featured speaker, September 9th up in Lebanon at the Farm Bureau Expo Center. So we're doing everything that we can to raise awareness and to get the information out in front of the people. And it's right there on our website for everybody to see.
All right, good stuff. And Richard, we look forward to seeing you at that event over in Lebanon. It's exciting, and I'm glad that people are standing up and speaking up. That's what we've got to do. And we're going to do our part here in West Tennessee, and we apologize for our squishy Republicans out here. Wow, what a mess.
Well, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to get on and let folks know what's actually going on. There's actually an article from the Tennessean that lists those individuals who have signed on to the governor's Red Flag Initiative, and Mark White and John Gillespie, both out of Memphis representatives, have already signed on to that. They're in support of that situation. I think it incumbent on the good people of Shelby County down there that live in their districts to light them up, let them know that, hey, you guys haven't read the Constitution. You don't understand what the rules really are. You're operating off feelings instead of off of prudence and the Constitution.
Richard, well said, and we're going to have to leave it there. Folks, that's Richard Archie with the Tennessee Firearms Association. If we are going to have this podcast on the website so you can download it and you can share it after the show. Richard, appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.